how many of you, first of all, dread Monday? Because that was me for so many years. I can't even tell you. All the years I worked outside of the home, I dreaded Monday. I tried to milk my weekend. Okay. Who's with me on that? Milking your weekend, staying up to the last minute. And you're like, okay, this night cannot end because I have to get up for work in the morning and I don't want to do that. Right? Been there? Okay. Unfortunately, you are sucking joy and health out of your body by doing that. And I know this because it compounded over time. If you've never read The Compound Effect, I highly encourage you to do that. It was a huge eye opener for me. So I was one of those ones that was just trying to milk every night. And when I was doing that, what was happening is I was getting so overtired that by the time the morning came, I was overtired, I was cranky, I was dreading everything. I couldn't think properly, which was sucking my joy. And when you're tired, you guys know that you're not going to be your best self. So the first step is to rejuvenate yourself. Now, part of that is going to be making sure you get enough rest. Part of that's going to be first thing in the morning before you touch anything to do with social media, because I know if you're like me, let me know in the comments if you used to keep your phone, maybe you still do, by your bed. Now, I personally used to do that because my dad and my mom are both seniors, and so I was telling myself that I needed that connection in case they needed me. However, I have a house phone that is on the other side of my bedroom, so I really didn't need my cell phone beside my bed, and it became a habit that is first thing in the morning I would turn on social media. And what usually happens, you may get a bad message, you may see something in the scroll that's happened in the news, and next thing you know, your joy level's coming down and you're starting your day on the wrong foot. So my next part of rejuvenating yourself is to take your cell phones and any type of digital items out of your bedroom, plug them in somewhere else that's safely away from anything flammable, of course, and just leave them there. And don't start your morning by touching that. Start your morning by having a glass of water to rejuvenate and start your body feeling great. Step outside, regardless of what the weather is, and take some deep breaths into the air and get some fresh air into your lungs, because it just, first of all, completely gives you fresh breath to deal with the day. And you will start noticing little things like birds chirping or the wind rustling through the trees. Those types of things really feed our soul, and we don't realize sometimes how much health we can get just from that vitamin N, I always call it, from that time in nature and just getting that fresh air. And it doesn't have to be long, guys. It can just be like 2 or 3, 4 or 5 breaths, and that's just an extra way to get some extra rejuvenation into your body. Now, the last part of the rejuvenating part is to ensure that you are exercising. I had to take my notes because I go off on things. So first sleep, and then rejuvenating yourself by getting that fresh air, taking those few minutes. Now, if you also want to take your meditation time and your prayer time, you can do that outside as well or in your room, but that is part of that quieting and getting in the fresh air. But the third part of that is to exercise. If you have any access to workouts at home, those are really great, or going for a walk, maybe opting to bike to work, or maybe taking the steps when you get to work instead of taking the elevator, whatever the case is. Or if you have stairs in your house, sometimes I would, if I was, running late, I would just do a couple laps up the steps, just to get the blood pumping. And by exercising, not only, of course, is it helping your health, it will actually boost your overall immune system and your morale. So you're going to automatically feel better. And because you're feeling better, you're going to be more happy. So it's a whole compounded process. And I know everyone, like I often, because I'm in health and fitness, a lot of people are like, guys, or Amanda, I don't have time for working out. And that's a whole other topic, which we won't go into, but these are easy tips for you guys to start implementing right now to increase your joy level. So the first part, and that's a 3-step part that I just mentioned, is rejuvenating yourself. Now, the second step to doing that is to be intentional about your laughter. Now that you're thinking, maybe let me know if you're like, what do you mean by that? How do I make myself laugh? I don't mean like go out and just, fake it. Because like we were talking to our mentor, John Eric, this morning, and he was like, don't, he's not a fake it till you make it. We're not like that. But what I mean is, if you have, are not able to put yourself into a situation where you can find joy and laughter in various part of your day, when you can fit it in whenever, it will start help training your brain and your body to find joy in other things and laughter. But you could be that you just break into your favorite song when you're driving to work, or you're, got the radio playing when you're working from home and you just turned up your favorite song and you're belting it out like nobody cares, right? And maybe you dance around the living room. I've done that too. Let me know where my singers and dancers are. Could be that you're singing in the shower, something that boosts your morale and boosts your immune system system to the point where you are just, bursting out. And by doing that intentionally and making those moments so that you can tap into that, it creates automatically more joy. And the more joy we have in our lives, the more healthy we are, because the fact that just goes hand in hand. It removes the stress, it lowers the cortisol levels in our body, and it allows us to have more time to be joyful, which is really awesome. And another thing that you can do is sometimes we'll sit down and just watch comedies. Now, I'm not a huge TV watcher. We've been trying to really cut back on that over the years. But if you need that extra boost, and maybe you're not a singer and a dancer and you don't really feel like doing that, then you could just pop in a favorite rom-com or something to just tap into and just get those endorphins going so that you are creating that joyfulness in your system. And the more you do that, like I said, your cortisol levels are going to go down and your endorphin levels are going to go up. And the more you do that, then you're being intentional about your joyfulness and your happiness. And then lastly, guys, is engaging in activity that makes you happy. So today, I almost forgot to go live because I was doing things that I was helping and pouring into some of my amazing people that I've met through here on social media. And by doing that is one of the things that I'm passionate about. And so because I'm tapping into this passion of mine of giving to other people and helping them and, doing these different things, I lose track of time. Who's with me? When you're doing something that you love, you lose track of time. And by doing these things, being intentional about your actions and the things that you're doing and trying to do, it doesn't mean that you have to go and spend your whole day doing for others. Although if you do that, that's great. That's fantastic too. But of course, we all have lives and jobs and things like that. But just being intentional to do something. Maybe it is sending a message to somebody of an encouragement. Maybe it's picking up the phone and giving them a quick phone call. Maybe it's, you had an extra part of your meal and you knew that you have a senior neighbor and maybe she just lost her husband and she could really use that extra meal, and just the thought of knowing that somebody cared about her. Maybe you got dumped on with a bunch of snow like we did, and you see that, your neighbor's out there shoveling or hasn't shoveled their walk yet, and you just go out and you do that, and then they go out with their shovel and they're like, what in the world? It's already done. It's just those little things that you can do intentionally that don't take very much of your time. If you don't have very much time, there's still no excuse in my book. You can always do something intentional that will, by helping other people, it will allow you to create more joy in your life, because you're going to see how it's benefiting them and affecting them in a joyful way. And by doing and having a giving heart, you in turn end up having more joyfulness in your heart. So I hope that's been helpful. Those are my tips for you guys today. I used to be known as Little Miss Sunshine. That was my nickname growing up. And so over the years, people kind of asked me the different things that I've done. And it's not something I do intentionally. It's just something that just kind of comes naturally. So I kind of have a hard time sometimes reiterating how to do it. But as I get older, it becomes a little bit more, needing to be intentional. So these are tips that I've learned, guys, that I've had to implement in my own life. So I hope that you have found it helpful. And I hope that you will join us tomorrow night at the same time, roughly 5:30 Mountain Standard Time, 7:30 Eastern. And I look forward to sharing and seeing you guys share what you are doing personally at home to be more intentional with joy and health in your life. Take care, guys.